This year's senior class speaker is Bennett Cross. Bennett comes from Sherman Oaks, California, and will receive his degree in multiple intelligences, music, mass, and movement. While at Pitzer, Bennett worked at the Grove House all 4 years and was on the Grove House committee. According to Rachel and Z, you have the cookie recipe perfected. And you created and led the popular LA food and coffee culture orientation adventure trip. He was an events staff manager and studied abroad in Parma, Italy, and I have to say, based on conversations with students, I've been informed that even by Pitzer standards, you own an inordinate amount of tie-dye. I welcome you to speak.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'd like to paint you the picture I saw the first time I stepped onto Pitzer's campus. I was a high school senior doing the normal traveling about to find the right college, and the previous week I had toured Claremont McKenna and Pomona. Coming into the Pitzer tour, I was under the impression that I wanted to go to CMC. No disrespect, but that would have been a disaster. One of the first things that I did when I got to Pitzer was walk across the mounds. And this is what I saw with no exaggerations. On the top mound, there were people playing guitar and singing, and a couple of students doing some reading. Between the mounds near the fountain, there were 3 people throwing a frisbee around. Now here's the kicker. Near the clock tower, there was a class sitting in a circle, having a discussion just as they would in the classroom, but instead they were outside enjoying the beautiful SoCal spring. I turned to my mom and said something to the effect of, "Sold." There's something to be said about the atmosphere around here. To speak to this atmosphere, I'm going to use an analogy that I heard my freshman year. I know that some people have had issues with this analogy before, so I'm going to justify it further than it has been justified before, and I assure you I am extremely qualified to do so. I have heard the phrase Camp Pitzer, and even own a shirt on which it is printed to describe the overall effect of Pitzer. Now, I know some people who take horrible offense to this statement. They say, I've worked really hard for my degree here, and I don't want people thinking that this isn't a hardworking institution. I very much respect that statement, and I very much respect all of the people before me that have worked so hard to get here. But I think that that statement short-sights what a camp is and what it can do. I personally have been involved in a camp for almost half my life. I could write books about how camp is a place where one can emotionally and intellectually grow. I could argue that I have grown more as a person at a residential summer camp than I have at any other place in this world. So that is why I'm willing to affectionately call this place Camp Pitzer. Now, if I may, I'd like to draw all the comparisons I can between the camp experience and the Pitzer experience. Again, I'm a qualified expert on this whole camp thing, so don't think I'm making this all up. Let's start with the obvious, the physical space that is Pitzer College. Let's start with the dorms. We were the first class to live in the new dorms, or as we called it then, Motel 4. Given the setup of the dorms, I could just step outside my room and yell, "Caw-caw!" And all I needed to do was wait for a response to see which way my friends were. What a riot that was. The people in Atherton seemed like they were in a different land altogether because they got to move in from day one. The rest of us were in Old Sanborn, which used to be right where we are now. There's a beautiful circle of life for you. Living in the dorms is an experience unto itself. A whole slew of people that I've never met before, all living in the same place, and embarking on a journey that is for most a milestone event in life. Good times indeed. Moving on from the dorms, we have McConnell Dining Hall, or as it is so lovingly called, Pitzer Dining. Everyone you want to eat with in one place. Excellent. You don't want to eat lunch at Pitzer Dining? Fine. We have the Grove House just up the mounds. Now, maybe I'm partial to the Grove House because I've worked there since my freshman year, but that place is magical. An old craftsman-style home with a story for the ages on our campus. Not only is it the most homely place around, but the kitchen makes some seriously delicious food. Last but not least, the mounds. The mounds, or what I saw on the mounds, are arguably the reason that I came to Pitzer. People can read, congregate, make music, do handstands, meet late at midnight at the clock tower, or just lounge around and get some sun. So what about this is like camp? Living with people you may have never met before is a hallmark of the camp experience. You get to know people in a way that is totally different when you get to spend so much time living with them. The mentor group set up at Pitzer is very much like a cabin, a group of people you meet initially from which lifelong relationships can be formed, but there is still plenty of room to go around and meet everyone else. The dining hall, I feel, goes without saying, is very much like a camp. Everyone meeting in the same place to enjoy food that is way more fresh than any camp I've ever heard of. Sometimes you don't like the food, just like at camp. And everyone has that one meal they look forward to all week, and I know for many it's Taco Tuesdays. The Grove House is a meeting center, somewhere that feels safe and where programming, meetings, and personal reflection can be done. And the mounds are like the rest of camp that doesn't have a building involved. All the outdoor play space you need right in the middle of campus. There's room for alone time, congregating, serious work time, and playtime. Now for the faculty and staff. I won't try to compare them to camp counselors, as that would very much undermine their qualifications. But the type of interactions we have with our faculty and staff is unlike anything I could have imagined in a college. It's like they think we're real people or something. They aren't trying to create a hierarchy of knowledge, but rather try and take down the walls that can keep an interested student at a distance from what they're trying to learn. They want to share with us and probe our interests. Plus, most of the staff care as much as the faculty does. I've had some fantastic conversations with maintenance and facilities about the state of our college and where they think our institution is going. Now for us, the students. Running with this camp analogy, we are the campers, and the reason that the camp exists in the first place. We came to a new place to meet a group of people that would have never interacted otherwise. We came here for a reason. We found something in this place that drew us here, or maybe our parents just wanted to get rid of us for a little while. We, like campers, have irregular sleeping schedules. We don't take answers at face value and always need to know more. We take no baloney. If something isn't right, we have to make changes. We want self-governance, and we'll fight for it. When decisions get made without us, someone is going to get a serious earful. We want to be involved, and not just on the surface. We want to have fun, some seriously serious fun. We want to learn from people who are interested in what they know, and Camp Pitzer has done a mighty fine job at providing this all for us. I remember my dear friend and former roommate Matt say to me one day, "I didn't come to Pitzer for the classes. I came to Pitzer for the whole Pitzer experience." Surely the courses are a part of that, but what he's saying is that there is no one thing that makes up Pitzer. It's the sum of its parts. Now I'd like to highlight a few characteristics of the Pitzer student. Like Matt said, the Pitzer experience is beyond the classroom. One part of this is the environmental focus of our campus. Whether participating in the Campus Climate Challenge, Eco Center, or fighting for the Bernard Field Station, we have always been prodded with this idea that we are but stewards on this planet, and we must be mindful and make conscious decisions about the way that we affect it. I suspect this lesson is one that will stay with us for life. Secondly, Pitzer has instilled the idea that we should never take information at face value. We need to understand what questions need to be asked, and we need to know how and where they need to be asked. When someone doesn't like the way our governing bodies are working, they have to stand up and try to change the powers that be. You find some people that are interested in the same cause, make a speech on the clock tower lawn, and call yourself the self-governance vanguard. Then once you're elected, you could see how the preceding governance likes you. I know that our questions will never cease, and I know that we as graduates of Pitzer College will not allow hokey-pokey information and standards to stand alone. And yes, those are technical terms. Next is Pitzer's focus on learning from the cultures of the world. There are Pitzer students all over the world right now. Pitzer's external studies opportunities are incredible, and they inform the student body with experience abroad and experiences with international students right here in Claremont. Seeing students that I went clubbing with in Parma on Pitzer's campus is an experience that most college students don't have, and it is an invaluable cultural exchange. No matter how frustrated we might get with all our friends speaking Nepali all the time, deep down inside, we understand that it's a beautiful and powerful circumstance for a college student to be in. This acceptance of other cultures is something that we will carry out of this place and into our lives to come. The last piece of this place that I would hope we carry out into the world is the idea of a community of individuals. This is an idea that I have seen cultivated here at Pitzer both directly and indirectly. Everyone that is a part of Pitzer comes from a different place. Maybe not geographically, but in their interests, experiences, personality, and focus. A community of individuals is analogous to another part of camp that I feel Pitzer can really relate to. Tie-dye. Tie-dye. In tie-dye, there are many different colors, some influenced by others and some derivatives of another. These colors represent individuals. They come together to create something new, beautiful, and complex, the tie-dye pattern itself. This masterpiece of kaleidoscopic color can only be as beautiful and complex as the colors that grace the tie-dyer's palette. So we, as individuals, are the colors that make up this tie-dye community of the graduating class of 2011. Without these particular, bright, thoughtful, fascinating, and complex colors, this tie-dye before me could not exist. I can tell you I'm incredibly proud to be but one color in this 4-year tie-dye session. So friends, comrades, colors of the Camp Pitzer fabric of 2011, we've made it. Now all we have left to do is dye the world with our color that Camp Pitzer has so graciously helped us to refine. Thank you.